Hello everyone. Moving on to the second part of the chapter Reproduction in Plants part 2 for class 7th in science. Now in the earlier part of the chapter we have seen how vegetative propagation is being carried out by stems. In this particular part we are going to look out for the vegetative propagation by leaves and some other parts of it. Okay, now when we are talking about propagation by leaves, bryophyllum, you can see it in the picture that's been shown in the diagram in the slide. Bryophyllum or sprout leaf plant have thick and fleshy leaves like in aloe vera. It is a fleshy ones which have juicy substance present inside it. They have notches along the edges of these leaves. Okay, and buds appear in these notches. These buds grow and give rise to a miniature plant. Small plants come out of it on the margin portion of the leaf, and these plants, when drop off after they have been grown and become mature, they drop from the leaf where they have been growing and they develop into a new mature plant out of. So this is a very interesting method by which the reproduction is being carried out. Even duckweed, which is an aquatic plant, it reproduces almost entirely by the same method that has been done in the bryophyllum. Then the next slide, this slide shows you how vegetative propagation is being carried out by roots. Now storage organ of dahlia plant or asparagus and sweet potato, okay, is a fleshy root. You all know that it's an outgrowth or a modification of root which is for storage of food. So that is called as tuberous root, where food is being stored in such a way. These roots give rise to new plants. Now vegetative propagation in plants can also be done through artificial means by various techniques which are being employed to do this, and the techniques are like cutting, grafting and layering. So these three processes are the ones which you can see the picture over here in the slide. The first process shows you the process by cutting process. Now here in this method, a part of stem or leaf of a plant is cut and then it is being planted into a moist soil, and this gives rise, the roots comes out of the cut part and give rise to a new plant. So this is a very easy process where only the leaves or the stem part is being cut and then it is placed into a new place, and root grows from the cut end of the flower and gives rise to a new plant. It's generally been done in hibiscus plant, sugarcane, bougainvilleas. These are the plants where you tapioca, croton, money plant, these are the common plants which you use in your garden or plant in your garden, which can be planted by using this method, cutting method. Then the next method is the grafting method. Now this is again interesting one. In plants like rose, desired varieties are there. You might have seen that there are different colors of roses found around. So this can be produced by using grafting technique. A cutting of the desired plant, whatever plant we need. Now if we need a rose of pink color, here we'll combine, take two different plants, a rose plant, one will be red in color and the other will be white in color. Okay, so the desired color is the pink one. So the desired plant is known as scion, which is inserted into a white colored rose plant stem is being cut off, and that's known as scion, and it is inserted into a cut end of the stem of the rooted plant. One rooted plant, red colored rose plant, is rooted in the soil. The scion is being put into the stalk. What is the stalk? The rooted plant of the same species of the rose plant itself. The two are tied together with a string. This is called as grafting method. After a few days, the scion grows on the stalk as if it is a part of it. After some days, if you remove the string which is being tied along, you will see that both of them are fused together and it seems as if it is a part of the flower plant itself. So this desired characters of the scion are introduced into the stalk, and then you can get a flower which gives pinkish in color. So these all desired varieties can be produced by using these techniques. Apple and rubber trees are also grown in this way. By why they have been grown? To get an improved variety. Okay, Then the next method which you can see here is layering. Now in plants like jasmine and rose, a lower branch of a plant is bent into the ground. Okay, it bends into the ground, as you can see here in the diagram. It bends into the ground, and then after a few days, roots arise from the plant, from the branch of the plant which has been bent down, and they produce into a new plantlets. These plantlets then after some time will get separated from the parent plant and will become mature. Okay, so these all were the techniques by which we can give rise to a new plant, and which was known as vegetative propagation. Now in our next slide we will just look forward. Before we move on to sexual reproduction, I would just like to give you the advantages of vegetative reproduction. First is that we can get plants, they can be grown relatively faster as compared to the natural way. Then the parental characters can be retained in the young ones. The plant which has been formed, the parental characters, the characters of the parents can be transferred or retained in the new plant. Then this plants can give rise, even the plants which do not produce seeds can also be propagated by this way. Then seedless varieties of some of the fruits can be produced by using vegetative propagation. And the last one is, the last advantage is that it is a very economical method. It does not cost much, and therefore it is an easy and economical method of giving rise to a new plant. Okay, now we'll move on to the next kind of reproduction, that is sexual reproduction. Now in this sexual reproduction, as I've already told you, there are two parent cells, or the two parents been involved, a male and a female, which gives rise to a new plant. Now flower is the reproductive organ of the flowering plant. Now, and we have even seen that sexual reproduction, the plants give rise to fruits, flowers and seeds. So flower is a reproductive organ of a flowering plant. Now we have already seen this parts of flower in class 6th already, in which you have seen that the flower has been divided into 4 whorls, that is petals, sepals, carpel and stamen. So sepal is the outermost whorl which is greenish in color, and it protects the flower in the bud stage. Then the next is petals, which is colorful and attracts the insects for pollination process. Then the next is stamen, which is a male reproductive part of a flower, and it has been divided into anther and filament. And carpel is the female reproductive part, which is divided into stigma, style and ovary. So these are the main 4 whorls of a flower. Now when we are talking about all the 4 whorls, the flower which has all the 4 whorls is known as a complete flower. And if any one whorl is also missing in the plant or the flower, it is known as an incomplete flower. Now you even know that the flower has been attached to the stem by a stalk. Okay, it is attached by a stalk to the stem. As I have already told you, parts of a flower, I have already described the parts of the flower, in which we have seen, okay, all the parts. That is the outer whorl, which is known as sepals. It's green in color, you can see it in the diagram, and it is enclosed. It encloses the flower when it is in a bud stage to protect it. So sepals, they are generally green in color. They form the first and the outermost whorl of the flower, and sepals help protect the petals. Then the second whorl is the petal. Petal are bright colored so as to attract the insect towards it. Then carpel, it is a female reproductive part which is divided into stigma, style and ovary, and further the ovary is being divided into ovule where the seeds are being produced. Then the male reproductive organ of a plant is the stamen, which is divided into anther and filament. Anther is a part where the pollen grains are being produced, and this pollen grains is a reproductive cell which helps in the reproduction process. Okay, now a flower which either has male or female reproductive part is known as unisexual plant or a flower, and a flower which have both types of reproductive part, that is a male and female part, it is known as a bisexual flower. So this was all about the parts of the flower. We'll see the next topic, that's pollination, in our coming part. in the third part of our chapter.